All right, so I got multiple things going against me right now this week. It is what it is. You just kind of got to roll with the punches. Sometimes being a dad, real life, always takes precedent over anything else. My middle child, middle child, easy for you to say, has broken a toe, and it takes you got to get it. Got to go through all the steps. So I've been dealing with that. The wife has some neck problems, so I'm helping her with that. And then you also can't forget to take care of the little one, because if you don't, all hell breaks loose. So in between all of that juggling, I have been keeping up on the news, sort of, and it's not great. Let's talk. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm the Trent from the title of the show. Hey guys, I've got 45 minutes left on this monthly allotment of time from Buzzsprout. Plug. And I actually want to do another episode early next week. So I've got to split up my 45 minutes between this and like a Monday or Tuesday, probably Monday episode. Monday or Tuesday episode. One or the other. I did want to hop on here and talk about last night's Donald Trump address. I heard it called the Pettysburg address, and honestly, awesome. No notes. It was thoroughly unhinged. It was just a bunch of conspiracy theory tips that were called into the FBI that have been declassified. And they've only declassified the incoming tips and not the FBI's response to them after they looked into, them at whatever depth that they needed to. Donald Trump is still litigating the 2020 election that happened under his general watch. He lost states that were run by Republicans like Brad Raffensperger in Georgia. And then he called those states and said, hey, I'm positive I won this state. Get me my votes. And they were like, that's not the way this works. We count the votes, and the votes say you lost. But to Donald Trump, that's not an acceptable answer. So he just refuses to let go. Now, it's all going to be, I'm not going to go into the specifics of the fucking Pettysburg address because it's unnecessary. It was all lies. Everyone who's fact-checked it is like, oh my God, seriously. Even Fox News, who had to pay $780 or $800 million to Smartmatic for their election lies, they won't get involved in this. They're like, we can't verify any of these claims. And that tells you what you really need to know. They know better. Their lawyers have said, don't you dare repeat those falsehoods. ABC and NBC refused to carry the thing live. Good for them. They did carry it on their streamers, whatever. But they did also follow it up with immediate fact checking. And it all points back to the same thing. Donald Trump is full of shit, and he always has been, and he will be until, the day that the vultures take him away. He lies nonstop all the time, every day, blah, blah, blah. He's a con man and a crook and a thief and just an all around awful person. Convicted criminal, convicted fraudster. He had his children's charity shut down because they were stealing money from children. From a children's charity. Yeah, that happened. The Trump Foundation is no longer allowed in the state of New York. It was forced to close for good. I do want to make note of this nonsense and say that this is obviously a pretext. The 2026 midterms are going to be a bloodbath for Republicans. They are going to absolutely get throttled. All the polling is leading that way, and it gets worse by the passing day. And instead of changing tack and actually starting to address some of the concerns of the constituents of this country, Republicans are just like, well, if we change the rules enough, maybe we can squeak by here. But they don't really have the power to do that, and they don't have the time to do it either. So, I have a feeling that there will be some claims of shenanigans. They will attempt to seize ballots after the fact when it starts to come in that they're getting their asses kicked. They're going to start seizing ballots in places where they can seize ballots. I've said this 100 times already. I know that it's scary to think of voter intimidation and these like ICE agents at the polls and FBI agents coming in taking ballots of stuff, ballots and voting materials and things like that. But if you really think about it, there are a lot of polling places in this country. A lot, enough to cover, 160 million voters or more. That's sometimes when we talk about numbers these days, when you talk about millions and billions and trillions, to make $1 million at $50,000 a year at some, like say you work at, I don't know, Target or something, and you make like $20 an hour, and it comes out to like $50,000 a year, something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but if you make $50,000 a year, it would take you 20 years to get to 1 million. To get to 100 million, of course, it's 100 times that. 100 times 20 is 2,000. So when we think about like 100 million voters, that's a lot of voters. That is a lot of voters. Anyway, we can't really visualize the differences between these numbers, and especially when you get to like billions and the number with trillions in it is like, just forget about it. It is going to be really unbelievably hard for them to even pull off mass voter intimidation. It's just, the logistics behind it are the same as the mass deportation that they want to do. I've talked about this. They want to deport like 3,000 people a day. Well, when you think about it as 3,000 people a day, it doesn't seem like a lot, right? But it's really hard to make 3,000 arrests and get them to stick. And that's why they've made so many mistakes and why they've failed so often at this and why they're still failing. They break the law constantly in order to quote unquote enforce the law, which is just ridiculous. It's one of the most ridiculous things they're doing. We have to take heart in the sheer volume of people in opposition to what they're doing. And that job to deport a bunch of people, it ain't easy. The job to intimidate a bunch of people, it ain't easy, especially when you've already pissed them off. When you've already pissed everybody off, it's really hard to intimidate them. They have a tendency to just kind of look at you and go, oh yeah? Fuck you. How about that? How about go fuck yourself? That's my response to you. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Donald Trump is going to attempt to, there will be attempted fuckery around the 2026 midterms. I don't know exactly what form it'll take. It'll probably be lots of different things because this regime's modus operandi, their normal way of doing things, is to throw spaghetti at the wall and whatever sticks, sticks. So they're going to try a whole bunch of different shit instead of having any focus at all, because that's how these people roll. And I don't think it's going to go well. I don't think they're going to be very successful at all. And so take heart in that. All right. Outside of that, the Iran war is back on. The whatever it is, what do they call it? The memorandum of understanding. It was apparently just junk, which is not a surprise. He's told us 60 times that this war is over, and it's just not. So I don't know how long it's going to go on, but until there's some sort of agreement reached, gas prices are going to remain high. We're still going to have problems with fertilizer. We're going to have all kinds of issues globally because of a lack of energy, which is just going to drive up prices across the board. So as always, again, the lack of focus and lack of a plan has bitten this regime in the ass, as it should. Going into these wars all half-cocked is a real dumb idea. And they've wasted billions of American taxpayer dollars worth of munitions already that are going to need to be replaced. And why do I use the word wasted? Because they haven't accomplished anything except killing a bunch of civilians, doing a bunch of damage that ultimately we're responsible for no real return. Not to mention the fact that it has cost all of us an absolute fortune in increased prices here at home on both fuel and things that require fuel to get to market, which is everything. So we still have an Iran war, but the good news is Whiskey Pete has decided that it's time for a mandatory testosterone screenings for U.S. soldiers. Keep in mind the flu shots are now optional, but testosterone screening mandatory. And they're going to offer testosterone treatments, which is gender affirming care, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, it is. I'm just pointing that out for fun. Whiskey Pete is, of course, full of shit as always. Arguably the most odious of all appointees, not named Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So Whiskey Pete, I don't know. It's a tight race because we've also got Todd Blanche in there too. He's auditioning to be the Attorney General of the United States. He's going through his confirmation this week. He will not get a single Democratic vote unless it's John Fetterman, which I got a whole list of problems with John Fetterman. I think that the stroke has turned him into a fucking psychopath. He will be primaried. He will lose. He will serve one term as the senator from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and he will go on the dustbin of history and be regarded as a turncoat on the Democratic Party. I used to love that guy. Anyway, the fight continues. All right. I just want to say these people are odious. All of them are terrible. But going back to the original discussion here, it's all about the midterms. And if we can launch some sort of accountability, some sort of control over the power of the purse, at the very least, we can get these people to not be paid for their horrible actions. I mean, it may sound like cold comfort, but it may be all we have. We can also keep a lot of people busy with investigations and court cases and things like that. And we're going to do that. But we have to win in the midterm first. That's the number one, number two, and number three thing on our plate right now is winning in the midterms. And I know that there is currently a kind of ongoing civil war within the Democratic Party between, the quote unquote establishment wing, which are all the people who've been in these jobs for a really long time. That's my Johnny Carson. There's the establishment wing, and then there's the progressive wing. There's the populist wing. These are the kind of grassroots campaigns, built in the milieu of Bernard Sanders. People who are taking that kind of populist message to the streets and saying, things like universal health care are not pipe dreams. We just had 48 countries compete in the World Cup, and 47 of them have a universal health care system, and the one that doesn't is us, the United States. And there's no reason for us to pay more per capita for our health care than anywhere else in the world while getting worse results. So it's time to start saying, you know what, private lobbyists and all you healthcare junket, what do you call them? Lobbyists, I think. Piss off. It's time for universal healthcare, and it's time to get on board. It's time to join the rest of the world in understanding that your right to life is tied to healthcare. You have a right to live, and you have a right to access healthcare. You're a part of society. You're participating in it, so you should benefit from it as well. That's how it works. So the quote unquote death panels and all that shit, that's all nonsense. It's all scare tactics. It's all garbage. Big pharma is in there trying to make sure that they have maximum profits. While you think about it, how many advertisements do you see for Viagra or Cialis or, all these, dick pills, as I like to call them. Do we really need this? Do we really need this? We never had it before. There used to be a time when you're just an old guy and you're like, this stuff doesn't work anymore, and that's okay. You're still a dude. You still live. You're just not screwing anymore, and that's okay. It's okay to be old. I hope, because I'm headed there, and I plan on living to be 100, baby. Hopefully, healthcare keeps up with me. I just wanted to do a brief episode, and I'm getting eaten alive by whatever insect lives in my garage, and it's like, I don't know. I have an infestation of some type. Sand fleas, maybe? I don't know. They're biting my legs right above the ankles. I can feel it right now, and I hate it. It's like, it's torturous. I don't care for this at all. I'm itchy. And you have itches that you can't scratch in the moment that just drives you nuts. That's what I'm going through right now. It's going to drive me crazy. But I did want to hop on and have this short discussion with everybody and explain where I've been, taking care of family stuff, what I've been up to. I haven't been keeping up. I have been keeping up, not like super, super tight, because honestly, it's starting to overwhelm me a little bit. And I you know what? It's scary, isn't it? When you start feeling overwhelmed by it all. You can't give up. You can't quit. You can't turn away forever. But you can hit the Zach Morris pause button, time out, and just take a few minutes for yourself. And I recommend everybody do that whenever they need to. That's going to do it for this episode, this very short episode of Trent Takes On 2.0. I appreciate you all so much for being on this little journey with me. The Monday episode will probably be around 20-25 minutes, right around the same size as this one, bite size. And then I can try and do another one when my money reset, when my new monthly allowance hits, monthly time allowance. Ugh, God, you don't want to pay for overage. Let me tell you, it's crazy. I also have to think about the possibility of taking this podcast to a video format. I don't know how many people are really going to be interested in that. I am a relatively handsome fellow, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Please share this with a friend. That's how we grow this thing. We're in this together. Until next time, please, please, please remember, above all else, to be good humans. It's the very least we can do. We're in this together, and we're going to make it. Talk to you soon.